In the heart of a small Indian village, a secret was growing, one that would change lives forever. A young Hindu girl drawn to the beauty of the Quran began secretly learning it at her Muslim friend's home. Over time, her heart embraced Islam, but she kept her faith hidden, knowing the consequences could shatter her world. Years later, she was forced into a marriage with a man who despised Muslims. Trapped in silence, she continued to turn to the Quran for strength, until a shocking twist, a devastating illness, set the stage for a miraculous transformation. What happened next is a story of faith against all odds, of love conquering hate, and of Allah's plan unfolding in the most unexpected ways. This true tale will leave you on the edge of your seat and show the boundless power of faith and prayer. Peace be upon you, regular listeners of Heartbeats of Allah. In the comments, write your country name. Friends, in today's video, we are sharing an extraordinary and heart-touching true story of a Hindu girl whose journey of faith will leave you amazed. This is said to be a true account from a small village in Uttar Pradesh, the region governed by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. It's a story of inspiration, courage, and the miraculous power of Allah that transforms lives. As you listen to this story, you'll find your iman, faith, strengthened, and your heart filled with peace. So stay with us till the end of this video. In a quiet village, a Hindu and a Muslim family lived as neighbors. The Hindu family had a young daughter, about 4 or 5 years old, who often visited the neighboring Muslim household to play with her friend. Like any innocent child, she would spend hours at her friend's home, unaware of the religious differences between them. The Muslim family's mother was a pious woman who devoted her time to teaching children how to recite the Quran. She believed that imparting the knowledge of the Quran was one of the greatest acts of worship. Whenever her own daughter sat down to recite the Quran, the Hindu girl would watch with keen interest. She found the words of the Quran captivating, though she didn't fully understand their meaning. Over time, her curiosity grew stronger, and one day she mustered the courage to ask her friend's mother, "Auntie, I also want to learn the Quran. Can you teach me?" The woman, seeing the child's eagerness, agreed with a smile. She began teaching her slowly, starting with the Qaida, a primer for learning to recite the Quran. The Hindu girl would sit with her friend every day, learning each letter and word with deep concentration. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, she progressed steadily, eventually learning to recite the Quran. The more she learned, the more her heart softened toward Islam, even though she didn't fully understand its teachings. The girl kept her newfound knowledge a secret from her parents, knowing that they would never approve. She would sneak away to her friend's house every day, spending hours reciting the Quran and observing the peaceful atmosphere of her friend's Muslim home. It was during these moments that she began to feel a deep connection with Islam. Though she was still a child, her heart was drawn to the words of Allah, and she felt an inexplicable sense of peace whenever she recited the Quran. Years passed, and the girl grew into a young woman. Her connection with Islam had grown stronger over time, but she had never shared her feelings with anyone except her Muslim friend and her mother. By this time, she had silently embraced Islam in her heart and had even recited the Kalima, the declaration of faith, on her own. She continued to keep her faith a secret, fearing the consequences if her family found out. When the time came for her parents to arrange her marriage, they chose a man from their own community, a staunch Hindu who harbored a strong prejudice against Muslims. This man had been raised with deep misconceptions about Islam, believing it to be a religion far removed from his own values and traditions. He refused to interact with Muslims, let alone consider them as equals. The girl, knowing his views, felt a deep sense of fear and helplessness. She worried about how she would maintain her faith in such an environment. As the wedding day approached, she visited her Muslim friend's mother, her confidant and teacher, to seek advice. With tears in her eyes, she said, "I have learned the Quran from you. I have even recited the Kalima and accepted Islam in my heart. But I can't share this with my family. If they find out, they will throw me out of the house, and I will have nowhere to go. Now I am marrying a man who despises Muslims. I don't know what to do." The wise woman listened patiently and then said, "My dear, Allah has chosen you for a great purpose. He guided your heart to His light, and He will protect your iman. Have trust in Him and remain steadfast. No matter how difficult things may seem, Allah's help is near. Remember, the Quran you have learned is your strength and your guide. Hold on to it tightly. The woman, moved by the girl's sincerity and devotion, decided to give her a special gift for her wedding, a beautifully wrapped Quran. She visited the girl's mother and said, "This is a gift for her new life. Please don't open it here. Let her take it to her in-laws' house and open it there." The girl's mother agreed, and the gift accompanied her to her new home. After her marriage, the girl carefully hid the Quran in a secure box. Whenever her husband was at work, she would take it out, reciting it with love and devotion. It became her source of comfort and strength as she silently navigated the challenges of her new life. As years went by, her connection with the Quran deepened and her faith grew stronger. Soon she became pregnant, which brought immense joy but also a new set of worries. She thought, "I've kept my faith hidden, but how will I raise my child as a Muslim? How will I teach my child the kalima without revealing my own beliefs?" Her heart turned to Allah in desperate prayers. Every day she would make dua, seeking guidance and strength. She clung to the Quran, reciting it not only for herself but also for the unborn child in her womb, believing that the words of Allah would bring blessings and protection. Then a sudden turn of events changed everything. Her husband fell seriously ill, and after a series of medical tests, the doctors delivered devastating news. He had been diagnosed with cancer. They informed him that he had only a month to live. Shaken and heartbroken, her husband returned home and shared the news with her. "You have always been so kind, loyal, and loving," he said through tears. "But now our time together is short. I don't have much longer." The girl, hiding her pain and fear, consoled him gently. "Don't give up hope," she said. "I know a cure that might work, but you must promise me one thing. You won't question anything I do." Desperate for a chance to survive, her husband agreed without hesitation. With unwavering faith, the girl began reciting Surah Al-Fatiha over her husband every day. She had learned from her Muslim friend's mother that Surah Al-Fatiha is a source of healing and mercy, so she recited it with full belief in Allah's power to cure. Each day she prayed earnestly, placing her trust entirely in Allah. Over the next month, she continued this routine, combining her prayers with caring for her husband. By the end of the month, they returned to the hospital for follow-up tests. The doctors were left utterly speechless. Not only was her husband completely cured, but the test results showed no trace of cancer. In fact, it appeared as though he had never been sick in the first place. It was nothing short of a miracle. Overwhelmed with emotion, her husband asked, "What did you do? How did this happen?" At that moment, she decided it was time to share her truth. With courage, she recounted her story, how she had secretly learned the Quran as a child, embraced Islam in her heart, and relied on its teachings throughout her life. She said, "This cure is from Allah, the one true God. His words have the power to heal. Now I ask you to accept Islam and recite the kalima." Her husband, deeply moved by her devotion and the miracle he had witnessed, agreed. He recited the kalima and embraced Islam with tears in his eyes. From that day forward, their lives began to change. The couple welcomed their first child, who was born into the light of Islam. Together they committed to practicing their faith openly, even though they feared backlash from their families and community. To ensure their safety and a better future, the husband applied for a job in Saudi Arabia. By the grace of Allah, he was accepted into a reputable company, and they relocated to begin a new chapter of their lives. In their new home, they could freely practice Islam, read the Quran together, and offer their prayers in peace. This story is a powerful reminder of Allah's mercy and the strength of unwavering faith. No matter how difficult the circumstances, Allah's help is always near for those who trust in Him. May Allah guide us all and grant us the ability to hold firmly to His path. Ameen.